Hello. I have been sent one of the coolest gifts ever. Genuinely an absolutely incredible piece of gaming history. Something that I did not even know existed, but which has absolutely blown my mind. This gift has been sent to me by Stephen Becka, the designer behind HeroQuest, Space Crusade, Battlemasters, Havoc, and HeroScape. So many games that have had such an incredible impact on my gaming life. And to have been sent something that has direct ties, that is actually part of the box design for Space Crusade, genuinely, it is just absolutely awesome. I'm going to share it here with you today and talk a little bit about one of the coolest ideas, I think, in game box design that I absolutely love. We don't tend to see it quite as much anymore. The in-universe box art that is people playing the game, but they are playing the game within the universe of the game. It's something I love, and I'm going to chat just a little bit about it, as well as the origins of this incredible gift. I'm Jordan, this is Jordan Sorcery, and today I am giddy because I am talking about one of the most awesome gifts I've ever received, and it is direct from Space Crusade. Right, let's just start by taking a quick look at this feature I'm talking about. The back of the box, or the front of the box even, that has people playing the game that they are advertising, but they are in the universe of the game. It was very popular in the 80s and 90s. We don't tend to see it these days, but I absolutely love it. This kind of box, you know the ones where you see on the back a group of kids leaning over the board in the middle of a game. But they weren't playing on the kitchen table or in the living room. No, they were playing in the heart of a dark dungeon or a graveyard or a dangerous space hulk. And behind them in the distance would be a creepy creature from the game that they were playing, or some other unknowable dangerous threat. The approach appears to have evolved from earlier box art that would feature real players in themed costuming. Some of these pictures would take that theming further and place the action into a suitable environment. And then with the arrival of HeroQuest, it seems that this approach reached an apotheosis. Space Crusade followed suit, and then Battlemasters took the same approach too, for its absolutely gigantic box. Arguably the masters of this form were Milton Bradley, but they were not the only purveyors of this particular box delight. I would love to hear from you if there is any box art like this that you remember fondly. Please let me know in the comments, because I just love seeing this kind of stuff. I have always loved this approach. I don't know, the idea of this sort of in-universe gaming session, it really appeals to me. There's something weird and nostalgic and fun about it. It's kind of goofy, but also kind of cool. Of course, all of the kids playing these games are about to be utterly decimated by Chaos Dreadnoughts or skeletons or all sorts, but it's so fun. The TV ads for these games took things even further. Absolutely brilliant stuff.
This is HeroQuest, the fantasy adventure game where winning means mastering the arts of combat.
I'll use my broadsword.
And magic.
Fire of Wrath.
Once you get into it, you'll never be the same. HeroQuest.
Space Crusade, the ultimate adventure game, where you must use all your skill and weaponry
Plasma gun, Dreadnought!
to battle through infested starships and win the highest rank. The ultimate encounter is here.
And so, what got me musing about these amazing box designs? Well, it was the gift that I received from Stephen Becka, the game designer behind HeroQuest and Battlemasters and Space Crusade. Games that have just had such an incredible influence on me as a gamer. They opened the door to Warhammer, and they have been just so influential for me. So to receive something direct from the designer of those games was just awesome on its own. But the nature of what he sent me, it's just... As a Warhammer historian here on the channel, it is amazing to have an artifact that is like proper history. It's part of the creation of something so important to me and to the hobby as a whole. So what am I talking about? Well, I am talking about this guy, a Space Marine from the back cover of Space Crusade. Wow, there's a lot of packaging material in here. Look at this guy! Look at this! Amazing. You might be forgiven for not immediately recognising this Marine, seeing as he's not quite as famous as his front cover brothers. But when you look at the back of the Space Crusade box, he's hard to miss. And I literally never realised that there was a physical Marine in this image. But it is so iconic. Such a great way to encapsulate the experience of playing Space Crusade. I just can't get over it. Stephen was kind enough to spend a little bit of time telling me more about the unique story of this particular Space Marine. So, Stephen, you recently very generously sent me this amazing piece of history from this is from the back of the Space Crusade box, right?
Exactly. What you're holding there is the Space Marine that is literally shown in the background here.
That's incredible. That's absolutely amazing.
So yeah, that's a genuine piece of Space Crusade history. It was painted by a friend of the photographer who did the box photography. And back in those days, we would typically, create a sort of like a mini set. So if you look at whether it's HeroQuest, whether it's Battle Masters, Space Crusade, there's kind of like a mini environment. And for Space Crusade, we wanted to sort of build it so it looked like the boys were sort of playing inside a spaceship. And the photographer thought it would be great to have a sort of a Space Marine, in the sort of like the hallway beyond the door. So he got a friend of his to paint this up. And there it was. And at the end of the shoot, he gave that to me as a memento, and I've had it kicking around for the last 30 plus years.
That's incredible. I don't think I ever, it never occurred to me that there was like a real physical thing, like in the room with the boys who were playing the game. That's amazing.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's, again, back in those days, obviously, sort of digital sort of manipulation of images and sort of was more in its infancy. So, we would literally, build out a little stage set. Yeah. So, I looked at your piece on Space Crusade and enjoyed it a lot. And I could tell that, Space Crusade was something that was, very special to you. I enjoy your channel. I love all of the reporting you do on the history of games and the stories behind them. So, I wanted to send you something that, gave you a little piece of that history.
Well, thank you very much. I do greatly appreciate it. I mean, I'm absolutely amazed. It's so cool. It's just so awesome. On that, the back of the box from that era, it did seem like there were quite a few of let's create this, as if the game is being played in this world of the game. That's such an interesting kind of meta idea for the box. Was that just something that was happening across the board? Is that something you and the team were bringing?
I think it was fairly sort of prevalent, across sort of games of that time. There was always this sort of desire to sort of blend the fantasy and the theme of the game sort of into one. So, if you remember with the Space Crusade advert, I mean, even just having that little section with the Space Marines, storming down the corridor, and the sort of like the alien. It was just a way of kind of, bringing the fantasy to life. And again, particularly for things like sort of 40K, it wasn't as well known as an IP back in those days. So, telling a little bit of the story and sort of showing the look of the science fiction was kind of important.
What a piece of history. I am so grateful to Stephen for sending it to me. I can't quite get my head around it. It's amazing. There have been so many amazing moments making these kinds of videos and spending time on the channel talking about the history of Warhammer and Games Workshop and the tabletop. Having had the chance to speak to people who have made these games and influenced my life and many other people's lives and done such amazing work to create these worlds and these experiences, to then have the opportunity to well, I mean, just talking to them, but to get a piece of that history like this, it's awesome. And I'm just so grateful to Stephen and to everybody who supports the channel and watches the channel, because you all make this possible, and I love it. And in fact, this is not the only bit of generosity that has come my way recently from Stephen Becka, because he was gracious enough to sit down for a couple of really long interview sessions where we talked about his work on HeroQuest, on Space Crusade, on Battlemasters, Havoc, HeroScape, loads of awesome stuff, his general philosophy on board game design. It was an awesome set of conversations. I'm going to be releasing the first of those retrospective interviews on my Jordan Sorcery Pods channel very soon, so keep an eye out for that. And on Patreon, there is going to be some early access content and some exclusive content that looks at Stephen's career and various conversations with Stephen about so many aspects of his awesome work, including some really fun stories from behind the scenes of HeroQuest that I don't think have been seen or heard anywhere else. So really, really fun stuff. Very grateful to Stephen for chatting to me for so long. I had so many questions. And even that is not all, because I have been granted unprecedented access to the creation of Stephen Becka's latest board game. So I got the chance to see all of the development materials and have many conversations with Stephen and the team at Boss Fight Studios who have developed his new game, and it was absolutely amazing. The first episode of my development diary for that game is going to be on the main channel here on Jordan Sorcery very, very soon. Cannot wait to share that. The game is an awesome dinosaur gladiatorial arena that is, you are fighting amongst one another, you're fighting to defeat your enemies and to win the praise of the audience and the crowd, and you're trying to avoid the entire floor beneath you erupting into a volcano. It's wild, fun stuff, and we have gone through the entire history of the development of that game, from conception through prototyping, right the way up to launching on Kickstarter. Everything that you might want to know about the creation of a brand new board game by one of the greatest board game designers ever. It is a really interesting story, and I cannot wait to share it. Thank you again to Stephen for such an incredible gift. Thank you for watching. I'm Jordan, and this is Jordan Sorcery.